Welcome to October's cosmic landscape with the Eclipse Aftermath, Saturnian Mastery in Venus and Jupiter's blessing. So in this forecast, we'll have a look at how to integrate the recent eclipse changes, close out old cycles and move confidently into those new ones. So we'll have a look at how Saturn's discipline and embodiment energy will help to anchor your growth, while Venus and Jupiter's supportive influence would be bringing that grace, opportunity and expansion. We'll also have a quick look at Mercury's sharpening of communication and self-expression and how that will empower us to speak our truth with clarity. This is the guide to navigating October's astrology with wisdom, embodiment and optimism. Please think about liking, sharing, subscribing for your weekly and monthly forecast, insights and soul-centered guidance. Hello, it's Karen from Soul Symbols, Astrology and Tarot. So the astrology of October 2025, and I can't believe for one that we've arrived in October. Where is it gone? Time's just sped by. So the astrology of October 2025 is occurring with the energetic backdrop of the eclipse season that we have been through. And so that eclipse season was about karmic closing of cycles and the beginnings of new cycles. So as we enter October, we are looking at what that means for us going forward into October. You may have found over the eclipse cycle and after the eclipse cycle that there are things you've had to let go, people you've had to let go, ways of being that you feel you need to let go of, or you're working on those things because this is a large karmic closing of a cycle. So that can be your individual choice and consequences. It can be that past life karma, or it can be ancestral karma. You may be doing ancestral work where you're closing out large generational cycles. So this is tiring work. You may feel you've had to move home, move job, relationships that you've had to move on from. And now we're in that liminal space. We're in that space where we are facing the newness. What behaviours need changing in me? What patterns of thinking, of feeling that are not useful anymore to me, that need to be let go? How do you implement them? Because October is going to bring those energies that will help implement the changes that you need to put in place. And as I say, that can be your mind, your emotions. It can be spiritual. There may have been closing of spiritual ways of being. You may be looking at new horizons in terms of that. Your groups and community or family may be changing and adapting, because we're not only dealing with our own change and our own closing of cycles, but we're interacting with the people and communities around us. So we're trying to integrate all those changes. So for me, this October is a time of integration for us on so many levels. And if we open to the energies that are here in October, the archetypal landscape and what that means within us, then we can be really supported in this work. So the aspects in the sky, what the planets are going to be bringing to us throughout October, is a sense of release, of letting go of the old. And this is a process we can't rush. It just can't be rushed. But also an embracing, a bedding down of those new energies that entered on the eclipse in Virgo. So I'm going to have a look at the sky, the aspects of the planet, and pick out those transits that appear to be painting a picture, telling a story of what October holds for us collectively and individually. Of course, this is a general read, so it's not going to give you all the details. Your natal chart is important here, where your planets are positioned within that natal chart. If you want to have a closer look at what's going for you on a very personal level, book a reading at soulsymbols.co.uk and we can have a face-to-face Zoom meeting and have a look at your chart and these transits of October. And of course, the planets in the skies are archetypes. And those archetypes of those planets don't just reside in the sky, they are part of our psyche. The Greek word for psyche was soul. So they affect our soul and they can show us the transformations, the growth, the challenges that may come to us, the themes and topics that will affect how we're interacting with ourselves, with the world around us, and in our relationships. So the story of October is going to profoundly be a part of your inner life, that connection between what's within you and what is above. As we enter October, we come off the eclipse season, and the 29th, 30th of September would have been the first quarter moon. So that first quarter moon can bring a sense of struggle, a sense of pushing through, like that seed in the earth that is pushing up through the soil and the debris. So we may enter October with a sense of struggle. Then the first quarter moon that happened at the very end of September was in Capricorn, the home of Saturn. So in that struggle, in that difficulty of pushing through, if you've had new vision, new birth, new starts, end of old cycles, beginning of news, you'll have Saturn there pushing for boundaries, for discipline, to embody the things that he has been teaching you. As we enter October, Saturn is sitting there retrograde in Pisces. You can go have a look at my video on Saturn's karmic conclusions, Saturn's final test. I'll pop it above. Go have a look at that, because Saturn has been doing a long work, and it's a total of around 2.5 years. But he is here resetting, reviewing, re-looking at all the foundations that he's been building in the Pisces area of your chart. And he will be asking now for you to embody those lessons, to grab your sense of discipline, putting in your boundaries, and working within the world, within the material world, to manifest the things that he's been teaching you, to have that transformational growth within your soul, within your life, and to manifest your purpose, the things that you are meant to be doing in this world, and the ways of being in the world. And there will be themes and topics according to what part of your chart Saturn is currently retrograding through, where you can apply that discipline and that embodiment within your life, within the material realm. Pisces can be that really creative and dreamy part of our charts. It can be the place where we plug into escapism, a sense of having difficulty being rooted in this world in so many ways. You get people with very artistic and creative potential and talents here. So here in Pisces, we can find the archetype of the tortured artist, the suffering creative, who is not rooted in the world in terms of the realities of the world. They're often off in their imagination. They're creative. And sometimes that dreaminess, that imagination, can cause them to lose their sense of reality, maybe in terms of finances. So they have these dreams, they're in flow state when they're painting or creating their art, whatever art that is, or just creating, being a very creative individual, however you do that creation. But there can be no space left for sorting out the finances. So the bills are piling up on the floor by the letterbox. It's that kind of energy there. So if you've got Pisces in your second house and you are that way inclined, then you'll find Saturn there has been working to help you to embody the reality and channel that creative flow into something sustainable whilst not escaping into that creative process and ignoring the reality that you need a roof over your head, your rent and bills paid. It could be that Saturn has been working with you in this Pisces area of your chart to have a look at something as simple and as complex as time. So to be realistic with what you're able to deliver and able to bring into the world in the time that you've got. So for creative people, time management is often a very yawn subject. Creatives, when they enter their flow state, that can sometimes begin when the sun comes up at dawn and end at midnight, and they haven't eaten and they haven't done the chores around the house. This is the sort of boundless sense of Pisces here, and that can work with any subject here. And Saturn will seek to put those boundaries in so that things are in balance. He brings a maturity, a wisdom. It is beautiful, and I don't think we've got enough imagination and dreaming in the world these days. But if that is not balanced off, if you have Pisces in your ninth house of spirituality, of learning, of beliefs, we may get lost in those pursuits, just the same as the artist with his or her paintbrush. Saturn will be saying to the creative, now it is time to bring those imaginations, those projects and creative endeavors into the material, because they are good for the dreamer. They're beautiful. It's beautiful to dream and imagine. It's a very rich world, and spiritually too. But if we're not bringing that into the concrete every day, it will benefit nobody else. Saturn has the wisdom, the boundaries, the discipline, and the time management to support us to manifest these things. But it is necessary. Saturn is about the material, about manifesting material reality. So he will talk about time. He will confront you about escapism. And he will put those boundaries in and bring things that bring that to your attention. And he will work and give you the wisdom to have that sense of time management and flow working together so that you can produce things that are beneficial to the world, but also beneficial to your own life. So this will be the period where Saturn is doing a last show to enable you to see where those gaps are. And we also have Jupiter, which is sitting there in Cancer and will be part of those later grand water trines along with Saturn in Pisces. And that will offer us a sort of relief to the heaviness of Saturn, bringing that sense of growth and expansion, fertility. There'll be feelings of well-being and warmth in that area of your chart, generosity and joy. That will enable us to have that deep sense of optimism, that deep sense of being able to give from our hearts, from what we've learned, to share our wisdom, to share the lessons Saturn may have brought us there. So beautiful energies there with Jupiter in Cancer, in trine with Saturn. Then we have Scorpio, which is being activated mid to late October with Mercury, the planet of mind, commerce, networking, our communication, and the movement. And that's going to be activating that grand water trine. And later, Mars will bring the action, the motivation, desire, and passion to move ourselves and our lives forward. So, Mars will provide that necessary drive and staying power to see our plans through. We'll also have the full moon in Aries, which is the culmination from the solar eclipse in Virgo, and that will be showing us that the fruit that's grown from that new moon. And that'll offer us lessons, what is working, what isn't working, and how we can move forward with all of that information. And the sun will move into Scorpio on the 23rd of October, and eventually later on in November, I believe, will be part of that grand water trine. But that will usher in Scorpio season, so it's fixed autumn, where the dark is dominant and the darkness is now increasing. So this is an opportune moment to process, to go within, to sit with your soul and process all that has happened throughout the year. And as the sun moves into Scorpio, it will be squaring Pluto, which brings some levels of tension, maybe levels of difficulty. He's squaring Lord of the Underworld, Pluto. There will be a sense of the volcanic, transformational, that opportunity for breakthrough, for bringing the subconscious, the unconscious, into the shine of the sun, which may be some difficult work, some difficult shadow work, some difficult challenges that we may have to face at that point, which is the 23rd of October, the end week of October. But it will also bring transformation to us, the opportunity for growth, the opportunity to embrace the shadow parts of us, embrace the things that have been hidden, and bring them into the wholeness of who we are. So immensely powerful transit that will be. And of course, the backdrop to the sun moving into Scorpio and squaring Pluto, we do have Venus moving into Libra, and Venus is a very happy bunny there. It's her domicile. So she'll be seeking to bring that energy of harmony, of balance to support us in our relationships and connections. And we will also be having on the 21st, the new moon in Libra. So that is going to further cement this sense of balance, of bringing balance and harmony to how we relate, wherever it is in your chart, that sense of beauty, of truth, of relationship, of connection. This is the backdrop to the more difficult or transformational transits later on in the month. This is an overview, a story, an image, a picture of the month of October. So we have that sense of plugging into discipline, building our boundaries, looking at our foundations, and how we can manifest in that material. We start the month with a struggle of that first quarter moon pushing through, but then we have the benefic transits. So we've got the Jupiter in Cancer, we've got Venus moving into Libra, which will give us optimism, warmth, expansion and growth. That harmony and ability to relate and to connect at depth. This is the overall picture of October, and there is transformation, there's some struggle, there's some growth. But every month brings that to us. But I think what you will notice through October is a lack of the gnarly energies of September. And September was, for many people, so I have heard, pretty difficult month. So you can expect a bit more of flow, a bit more of relaxation in the things that you're doing. It's more about gathering the things we've learned and putting them into practice within our own lives and our reality around us. I will be coming back throughout the month as I give my weekly forecasts of our sky. I'll be coming back to these individual transits, looking at them in more detail and how we can apply them week by week to our lives. So I hope that was helpful in some way for you. I shall see you in the next one.